To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew, that you need to know. Lockhart perspective.
Well, hello and good afternoon to everybody. We are here at the TLP Headlines with a Voice to bring some news to you guys. Just some standard stuff as to what's going on, some of the headlines that we're looking at right now. And, a lot of the stuff that we bring sometimes is from various different publications. And this one today is actually coming from coming from Zero Hedge. So, hello. This talks about the U.S. bases in both Iraq and Syria are under fresh rocket attacks. Now, this was out from yesterday, but I just wanted to know if anybody else knew about this and exactly why they decided to do it when they did. Maybe to take a little bit of the heat off. But nonetheless, it does say that during the week of January 3rd, the second anniversary of the 2020 killing by the U.S. drone strike of IRGC Commander General Qasem Soleimani, there's been a spat of attacks on bases around the United States of America's troops that are stationed in Iraq and Syria, and that was on yesterday, Wednesday. There had been 3 consecutive attacks so far. As ABC News detailed, the Iraqi military bases hosted U.S. troops in Iraq's western Anbar province and the capital of Baghdad. They were all hit by Qatarusha, I hope I said that correct, rockets on Wednesday, while in Syria, 8 rounds of indirect fire landed inside a base. Now, this was with members of the U.S.-led coalition, the Iraqi and the U.S. military said. That's not good. So that means that we're aiming towards something a bit much, I would think. There's a little bit more news that we're going to cover, but it goes on to say that this includes a rocket attack on the Al-Assad base in western Iraq. After the day prior, small drones targeted the base, but which were downed. They were all downed by the U.S. anti-air systems operating there. In the Syria area, the base named Green Village in Deir Azor was also targeted in a fresh set of attacks. The day following the U.S. preemptive action against the suspected rocket launch sites used by the area militias. And I think that's heating up for us to go someplace we probably shouldn't be. But with that said, let's get on to the next story. I just thought I would give that little bit of a tidbit. Hey, Mark Schumann and Sandy Aaron. Hello. Let's see what you say here. Yeah. I think that this is just getting us really prepared to do some stuff that we shouldn't even be involved in, I think. But, Sandy, this stuff is not going to end until the Messiah comes and takes care of all of this. Really. Seriously. Really. So here's another story. Now, this is just a little bit of a different story. This is talking about this new term. I think it's a new term, but it really isn't a new term. It's the government does admit to using mass formation psychosis as a tool of population control. Again, this was yesterday. All right, early in the morning. And Dr. Robert Malone's assertion about the mass formation psychosis in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic are underscored by the fact that authorities in the United Kingdom admitted to using the totalitarian methods of mind control. That is, again, from the United Kingdom, to instill fear in the population. So I guess if you want to get somebody to do something, That's the way they'd have to do it. But in Canada, the military also admitted to launching a psychological operations campaign against their own people in order to manipulate them into compliance with the restrictions and mandates. During his viral podcast, Joe Rogan, after he was banned by Twitter, Malone explained how the global population was being manipulated into remaining in a constant state of hysteria. I say hysteria. And hysterical anxiety via mass formation psychosis. What the heck happened to Germany in the 20s and 30s, the comment says? Very intelligent, highly intellectual population that went barking mad. And how did that happen, asked Malone. The question's answer is mass formation psychosis, close quote. When you have a society that has become decoupled from each other and has free-floating anxiety in a sense that things don't make sense, we can't understand it. And then their attention gets focused by a leader or series of events on one small point, just like hypnosis. They literally become hypnotized, and they can be led anywhere, he said. But we all know that there was a lot of different things that were done back in the day, that they used a lot of mind control. And I think that's what they're saying is going on in the UK as well as Canada. The UK and Canada. Nowhere else but the UK and Canada. This is happening. This is what's going on. Okay. Well, today the groups decide that they are going to have a little bit of fun. Moscow declares that Kazakhstan's unrest, foreign-inspired attempt of armed trained groups to overthrow the state. That's the next deal. So what else is up today? I wonder what else is going on here. I'm not going to talk about it because we just came off the radio and we had a pretty good conversation about what's going on here. But let's get on over here to find out exactly what they've got to say about Moscow declares Kazakhstan unrest as foreign-inspired attempt of armed trained groups to overthrow the state. Well, Russia's foreign ministry on Thursday issued its most definitive and biting criticism of the unfolding crisis just at its south. I think that's what that's trying to say. In the large former Soviet Republic of Kazakhstan, which it should be remembered is the size of Europe in terms of landmass. Echoing statements this week from an embattled strong Kazakh, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, who has labeled the raging and the increasingly violent fuel prices, hike protests, and riots as terroristic in nature and inspired by outside forces. Russia has described a, quote, foreign-inspired attempt to use armed trained groups of people to overthrow the legitimate government. Look at this. Look at that. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? Quote, we consider the recent events in a friendly country to be a foreign-inspired attempt to use armed and trained groups of people forcibly to undermine the security and integrity of the state. Close quote. This comes from the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson or spokeswoman, Maria Zakharova. She said in a statement, quote, she stressed that Russia is interested in reinstating the status quo in Kazakhstan and will assist Kazakh authorities in stopping the violence. The Russian media further cited her saying, earlier in the day, relatively small deployments of Russian paratroopers were filmed boarding military transport aircraft. This after the Regional Collective Security Treaty Organization, or CSTO, alliance authorized a peacekeeping force on the ground. So a lot of stuff going on over there. It says, as we noted previously, there's nothing so far to suggest that the Kremlin is deploying a very large force also, as it's likely has its eyes still focused on the Ukraine, the crisis, they call it 2.0, and NATO eastward expansion. Here's a tweet from Francois Hayesberg. Kazakhstan is more than 4 times the size of the Ukraine. Math problem of the day. If it takes more than 100,000 soldiers to invade Ukraine, how many will it take to occupy Kazakhstan? And then he's got hashtag burden of the empire. Burden of empire. Kazakhstan is relatively scaled. This is the scale of Kazakhstan. You see that? Do you see it? Do you see it? A number of Western observers have noted the unlikelihood of Russia getting too bogged down in the Kazakhstan situation, given the expanse of the protests and unrest. Any significant deployment and crackdown against the rioting would require a huge military and logistic effort. Meanwhile, dozens of deaths and hundreds of injuries and also thousands of arrests are being reported in the latest. They said, quote, the Interior Ministry said about 2,000 people were arrested on Thursday, while the police spokesperson, Salatat, that's all I'm going to say, no last name because I can't get the first one out, told the state news channel Khabar 24 that dozens of attackers were liquidated. There were also reports about 400 people in the hospital, and city officials in Almaty said about 353 officers were injured and 12 were killed, one of whom they claimed had been found without his tapa. It's terrible. In particular, country's largest, like the city of Almaty, is now the scene of running gun battles in the streets between the security forces and apparently armed groups. You know what I think the more I read some of this stuff? I just think that everybody who's doing the bad stuff really does just need to knock it off. Because haven't we had enough of this stuff going on all over the world? Wonder what rare earth minerals they have there. And I know it's a bunch of them. Well, they're loaded with all kinds of stuff over there. And I just think that it's just time for all this stuff to stop. Woo. You know, I remember hearing the old people say, oh, come on now, Jesus. Come on, Jesus, come back. So I don't think I can blame most of them right at this point. Some of the stuff's really, it's really a bit much. Yeesh. You almost need like something to wash all this stuff down. You almost need like a beverage or something to just, get it all out of there. What's going on? Something every day. Something every time you turn around. Yikes. Just today we were talking about the deer being laden with the 19 deer. Most people were saying, oh, that's not even real. It's not even a thing. They just don't want you to go out and get any deer or doe on your own. Who knows what it's about? What's it all about, Alfie? None of us really know, but we do know something. Something stinks. Something does stink. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And did you guys know that if you are doing any PayPal payments or anything that you may have purchased over $600, you got to report that to the IRS now? Yep. Venmo, PayPal must report goods and service payments of $600 or above to the IRS. Huh. So anything else you get above. Now, it used to be, $1,000? Because I remember, for example, having a 1099, you would give the person the document for them to fill out so that you could submit that to the government. I think it was like anything over $999.99. Well, now it's $600 and above. So if anybody's giving me anything above that, I gotta report it. But I report it anyway, because that's the only way that I can get my Social Security if there's anything left after they're done squandering it on a boatload of strangers. If there's anything left. So I make sure that I do say it, because I dare say that there are just a handful of years left before I'm able to see what's at the bottom of that pot, if there's anything there at all. It's amazing to me how people can come here and literally get they can literally get Social Security. They never put a coin in. I remember back in 2015, 2014, people were getting it, coming from different places. I was like, how does that work? Well, I know people who are here that's quite cuckoo, and they've been trying to get it. I know family members that were trying to get it, and they were having mental issues, and they could not get it. But everybody that came from other places did. So hopefully there'll be a little coinage left that we might be able to get. Hopefully. Yeah. But you know. Anyway, so just thought that I'd stop over and check you guys out and say hi. How have you been? If you've seen your girl around these YouTube streets, you know that I've been hanging out, doing some things in a lot of other directions. But I think that you and I over here on TLP Headlines with a Voice, I think we're going to spend a lot more time together. Yeah. I think all the stuff that we decided not to put on the other two channels when we were done doing our end of the fiscal year, and I say fiscal year because it's not really, that doesn't end until June, but for us, we just ended this other year because, you know, we don't have our end of our year, the beginning of the new one, until March. Anyway, that's another story, another time. We'll talk about it in another day. But for now, I think what we'll do is just drag our morning brew over here. So this is where we will do the morning cup of coffee show. Ooh, Sandy, it's delicious. In between chatting with you guys and going into the Blog Talk show, took it out of the oven, let it rest for a few minutes, and then I dug in. Can I just tell you, sheer deliciousness. But you know what I tried to avoid, Sandy Aaron? I tried to avoid the salt. So this time I put no salt in it. Because, you know, when you're slow cooking stuff like that and you're using celery, which has a lot of sodium to it anyway, you can think you're putting just a little bit in and it's just too much. Well, I was cajoled by an outsider to put a little bit of slap your mama in there. And I did put a little slap your mama. For my taste, it's still a little salty. So... But I'm not going to do anything because normally, you know, I would stick a boatload of potatoes someplace. But it's too late now because the pie's already baked. I already did the pie. It's already done. Can't put nothing in it. So with that in mind, I will just leave it the way that it is. But I miss you guys, and we're going to pick up where we left off on the other two channels because now we had to figure out where to put everything, where everything should go. And so we're going to, now that we know exactly what's going on with B's channel, they only want political stuff, it appears. Because you know that I like a lot of stuff dealing with the stars and the cosmos and, you know, I'm that digital chick. I want to know about all the techno stuff. Some of that will go over there, but the majority of it, I think we're going to slide it on over here. But one thing is for sure, yay! Our every morning beverage show where we're having our wonderful coffee and jazz will be moved right over here. See how that works? That'll be moved right over here with you wonderful, loving listeners. I love each and every one of you guys. We've only been together for about 17 minutes, but that's okay. We'll be back tomorrow. And if you want to have a cup of coffee with me in the morning, bring your favorite hot beverage. If it's coffee, cocoa, tea, whatever, bring it on over. We're going to look at a few headlines tomorrow and see what's shaking, what's cracking. I love each and every one of you. Please remember what we always say on any Felicia Lockhart group publication, and that is that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. You guys take care of yourselves first, then remember to take care of one another. Till we see each other again, please continue to be blessed.
To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping